What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another video by yours truly. Long awaited and anticipated monthly revenue by Sensory Tower has finally been revealed. A lot of people have been trying to guess and predict how Wuthering Waves is going to perform. We have our average Doom posters, whether they be of the Hoyoverse community or just toxic Gacha player community, period.
Oh, how dare you guys think anything other than my favorite game is going to perform well?
And I think this is definitely going to be a controversial topic. There's been a lot of eyes on Wuthering Waves, its success and how it performs. And I've looked at a couple of metrics here that I want to shine a light on. But ultimately, I am very impressed with how Wuthering Waves performed within a full month launch. And I want to get into some of these details. Let's go ahead and look at the results first. We'll point those out and then we'll get into some metrics here that I think are worthy to take a look at. Okay, so let's go ahead and start off with the region split. I like how Sensory Tower will show you the region split and then I'll show you the combined revenue. We'll take a look at both, but it's always very telling to me how a game is performing in China versus global. China is very, very huge on mobile gaming. The majority of China plays a ridiculous amount of mobile games. So I always expect the games that synergize with mobile mechanisms the most to perform the best on mobile spending. Case in point, Honkai Star Rail, a full-fledged turn-based game, is going to perform incredibly well on mobile devices because it's a turn-based game, bro. You don't have to do any crazy out-of-the-world mechanisms. Genshin Impact is a much more casual game as well in comparison to the intricacies of Wuthering Waves combat, and as well as the difficulty of Wuthering Waves combat when you compare it to Genshin. So I expect these games to perform very well in China, just off of that, what I just explained to you. However, I wasn't expecting Wuthering Waves to outperform Genshin Impact on a global scale. That is absolutely insane because we all know how much of a problem it was, or, you know, based off of feedback on the internet, that people couldn't play on their mobile devices for Wuthering Waves. They're still fixing that problem. It is still a present problem as I am speaking in real time. So we haven't even been able to tap into the full potential of Wuthering Waves on a mobile device. And I've said this before, Wuthering Waves is way more of a PC and console experience game due to its mechanisms than it is a mobile game experience. So I feel like Wuthering Waves performing as well as it did is crazy. I think that's wild. Also, I predicted that it be in the top 3. Somebody asked me last night, actually. He said, where do you think Wuthering Waves is going to fall? I said top 2. And then I said, wait, hold on. What is Genshin Impact's, what characters are they promoting right now in this month? Because that's pretty important. And they said Farina. I said, never mind. Wuthering Waves is going to be in top 3. You know, if Farina's in there, oh, Wuthering Waves is going to be top 3. Now, they dropped somebody else named Clarin and then a Seguin. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I don't care. Clarin definitely would do well. But Farina being reran, seeing as the amount of broken she was, yeah, I expected Genshin Impact to definitely put in some performance here. Now let's go ahead and look at the combined revenue. If you look at combined revenue, Honkai Star Rail made 92.5 and 66.5 from Genshin, and then 45.5 for Wuthering Waves, getting inside of the top 3. This is a huge W for Wuthering Waves. Massive W for Wuthering Waves. You take a look at their predecessor, which is PGR, and you see at how that game has performed, and then you look at how their new game, you know, has performed. That is such a massive W for Kudo Games. Give themselves a big pat on the back. The risk, the budget, the marketing, it all paid off. Word of mouth, as we already heard, if you include PC revenue, Wuthering Waves made over $100 million, which would mean I was right when I said the last time I talked about this game. Remember when I told y'all, I said, I think this is the kind of game that makes more money on PC than it will on mobile. I think Honkai Star Rail and Genshin will make more money mobile than they will on PC. I was right because the sources, the external sources, said that Wuthering Waves made over $100 million in its first month. And right now we're looking at 45.5 in mobile, which would imply, actually it don't imply, that deduces that you made more money on PC than you did on mobile. I think that's pretty telling, and I think Wuthering Waves needs to take this information and say we need to drop this shit on console, because this is telling us that there's a lot of people who play our game with the PC mechanisms. That's huge. The fluidity of a controller as well would be massive. Also, I almost forgot to talk about this. I'm adding this in the video after finishing the video. Firefly and Ranmei combined with that spectacular 4-star character banner lineup too. Just a great patch overall, by the way. Didn't even come close to Acheron sales back in March when Acheron released. 145 million. This is the power of the Shogun, or the original Raiden Mei. I just wanted to throw this little fact out here. There were people saying that she's going to outsell Acheron. I never thought this. I said, there's no shot she's outselling Acheron. But when I saw that Ron May was a rerun on the banner, I said, okay, hold on. They might. It's possible. Bro, didn't even come close. 95 million versus 145. Acheron is truly the Emanator. All right, cool. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is numbers. How did Wuthering Waves perform those numbers with the community, the active players daily and monthly? This is very important. Let's get into it. So when I look at Genshin Impact, sorry for the white screen, by the way. I'm sorry, guys. It is what it is. Okay, but when we look at the last 30 days here, you got 62 million average monthly players for Genshin Impact. If I scroll down here, you can see that as well. Last 30 days, 62 million. You can look at how many monthly players Genshin Impact has by coming to the active IO player. So if we scroll up here, you'll see online players right now, 662,000 in the last 1 hour, in the last 30 days. And then you see the gain, you see the Twitch watch hours, so on and so forth. Again, 62 million monthly. Okay, let's go over to Honkai Star Rail. If we come here, Honkai Star Rail has been trending down in terms of its average monthly players, but it's at 20 million average monthly players. That is a third of the average monthly players of Genshin Impact. And they both have console and PC gaming now. So this goes to show you just how many people play Genshin Impact around the world. That is a lot of volume that they are pushing. So how many daily players are for Honkai Star Rail? We can come over here and see that it has an average of 5.5 million average daily players. Now, let's look at Wuthering Waves. Wuthering Waves has a 30-day average of 1.8 million monthly players. It didn't even crack 2 million. Genshin Impact, 60 million monthly players. Honkai Star Rail, 20 million monthly players. Daily average of Wuthering Waves, 600,000 to 1 million players, and it actually doesn't even have 2 million 30-day average. Do you see the percentage of players, the volume of players that are actually playing their game in conjunction to the 30-day average? Versus Genshin Impact, you have 62 million. I mean, this is crazy, because when you look at these numbers right here, and then you come back to Sensory Tower's performance, I think the dollar per player, user acquisition spent, that is, I think that should be able to tell you how many people are enjoying the game, that are playing the game, who are actually spending money on Wuthering Waves due to what they are offering. And when I look at that, and I look at the long term and the longevity of Wuthering Waves, if they continue to build upon their game and garner a bigger audience, this tells me that they're only going to go up from here. That said, I do think they need to go ahead and polish up whatever they need to polish up so that mobile players can play it more often, and they need to drop a console release. If they do all this, I'm pretty sure these numbers are going to be insane, because once you throw in PC and all of that, I'll be honest, it looks like Wuthering Waves could actually outperform Hoyoverse. I know that's a crazy take, but I'm only talking to you based off of what I can infer based off of the evidence I've gathered. Overall, Wuthering Waves has been doing a phenomenal job when you consider that Kudo Games wasn't nowhere near the top prior to Wuthering Waves. Now, what's going to be interesting is the release of Zenless Zone Zero, which is in 3 days. How is that going to impact Wuthering Waves? This next month is going to be very important for Wuthering Waves. They're still not out of the waters, because now they're on a 7-week cycle until their next big update. And then they got their biggest rival in competition coming on July 4th. And so this month, the month of July, I'm anticipating it to actually be quite a bit of a rough month. Then again, they got Chang-Li dropping, right? Chang-Li's dropping, Gen.Z's month still going on into this, and then they have the update coming. So will Wuthering Waves be able to weather the storm known as July, given that their biggest competition is dropping? It's going to be a drought for 7 weeks. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see there. But what I can say is, based off of what they've done so far, this has been an incredible performance, and they should absolutely be celebrating this W as things stand now. I do want to see some more concrete evidence if they really did make over $100 million, which I think they made way over that. I think they made 120 or 130 based off of that source. But I want to see that concrete information, because that would mean that Wuthering Waves is absolutely more of a PC game than it is a mobile game, which is fucking crazy. Overall, this is typically something where I'll go down the line and look at all the other games, but the most important thing for this Sensory Tower update to talk about for me and my community was definitely how this turned out. There were a lot of doom posters on Wuthering Waves on its launch saying it won't succeed, and you're gonna see them in the comment section again. It's the Hoyo cucks. They don't know how to compute anything objectively. They get all in their emotions and attached to anything that isn't a green light for their favorite game. It is what it is. Overall, I actually look forward to seeing how Zenless Zone Zero is going to perform. I look forward to the next Sensory Tower update, because Zenless Zone Zero is another game I'm curious how it's going to perform mobile wise and then PC wise. I think Zenless actually has more of a synergy mobile wise than it does when you look at Wuthering Waves. I don't know, but comment down below. You guys let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the flip side.